Good evening to you all, and many thanks for joining us here on Rwanda Television. We hope you had yourselves a very productive and restful day. Now, top of our edition tonight, these are our headlines. On Tuesday, after receiving the oaths of 5 judges and the Deputy Secretary General of Rwanda Investigation Bureau, President Paul Kagame pointed out that a country cannot be orderly without justice, stressing that no one is above the law. The Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Ngirente, calls on the Commonwealth member states to join forces in facing the challenges of the current world. Very glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. Now, on Tuesday, after receiving the oaths of 5 judges and the Deputy Secretary General of Rwanda Investigation Bureau, President Paul Kagame pointed out that a country cannot be orderly without justice, stressing that no one is above the law. Olive Nete with more on this report.
Yewe Isabel Karihangabo, ndahiriye u Rwanda ku mugaragaro.
In Village Urugwiro, 5 judges and the Deputy Secretary General of the Rwanda Investigative Bureau sworn in. President Paul Kagame reminded those who took the oath to carefully reflect on its contents and actively implement its principles. He recalled where the gap in justice led Rwanda in its history, stressing that no country can do well without justice.
Na gihugu cyatungana kidafite gutanga ubwo butabera ku munyarwanda uwo ari we wese.
There is no country that would do well if it doesn't provide justice to all Rwandans equally. We know our history and also gaps noticed in regards to justice that affected the politics of the country and the lives of Rwandans. I believe we know this so well enough that we've learned many lessons from it that will make us serve better our country and also Rwandans could have a good life.
N'abanyarwanda bakagira ubuzima bakwiye.
The head of state also reminded them that they ought to be exemplary by being the first to observe the law. He also emphasized that no one is above the law.
Justice is important for everyone. What it also tells us is that before the law in justice, we should all be treated equally, so that no one of us violates the law for justice to be possible.
The newly sworn-in justice sector officials include Jean Bosco Kazungu and Isabel Karihangabo, who were appointed as Supreme Court judges. Xavier Ndahayo and Angeline Rutazana were deployed to the Court of Appeal, and Jean-Pierre Habarurema was sworn in as President of the High Court. Console Kamarampaka was sworn in as the Deputy Secretary General of the Rwanda Investigative Bureau. These officials were appointed by the Cabinet meeting of October 20th, 2023. Olive Nete, RTV News.
The Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Ngirente, calls on the Commonwealth member states to join forces in facing the challenges of the current world. He reiterated this during the official opening of the 10th gathering of the Local Government Forum in Kigali. Olive Nete continues.
Representatives from ministries of local government of the 56 member states of the Commonwealth, associations of local government, mayors and other administrative officials were present at the conference. The Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Ngirente, called on these institutions to work together so as to find sustainable solutions to current and future global shocks.
The COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and the conflicts have challenged our resilience as a government. For instance, some reports indicate that the Commonwealth member countries suffered a collective loss of $1.15 trillion to their GDP in 2020 compared with the pre-pandemic estimate.
The chairperson of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, Moragomampo, points out that it is a privilege that this conference is being held in Rwanda, where good governance is at the forefront in government procedures. He additionally emphasized that the conference will be a good platform to discuss and make decisions that will bring about the necessary changes in service delivery.
Local government, development and democracy have got no substitute. It is the people who are the architects of their own development, who know what they want, and therefore we should all have the appetite to decentralize and devolve so that people can take charge of their own destiny and reduce dependence and create the requisite resilience to withstand shocks at any given time.
According to Jean-Claude Musabyimana, the Minister of Local Government, Rwanda has made progress in decentralizing services to the population. He added that Rwanda has gained a lot and will benefit from this meeting.
Rwanda's membership currently is composed of the Ministry of Local Government since 2012 and the Rwanda Association of Local Authorities, RARGA, since 2010. The city of Kigali and the districts are de facto members under RARGA. During this period, Rwanda has benefited significantly from these forums' diversity, culture, and richness of the member countries in various ways.
Lucy Slack, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, points out that there is need to join hands and have a general ideology, however much the implementation may differ between countries.
But what we want to do at this meeting is really focus on the how. How can we make that happen better? What kind of partnerships do we need to forge? What kind of organisations do we need to have around the table? How can different parts of government work together in the interests of people? And I think we heard at the opening ceremony today that local government is all about people. So everything that we do has to really focus on how we actually improve the lives of the people that we serve as local government. We'll be taking the outcomes from this conference and we'll be using it to support our members in terms of implementation, but we'll also be talking to Commonwealth heads of government when they meet next in Samoa, also on resilience, to say, you know, resilience is important from the local level right the way up to central government level.
The theme of the 2023 conference is focusing on building local government resilience to future shocks by ensuring that local government is empowered and has the skills and capacity in place to ensure sustainable development. The conference will be concluded on Friday. Olive Ntete, RTV News.
Rwandan citizens testify that decentralization programs have significantly increased their involvement on national programs and policies. Sam Kalisa has the report.
Residents of Ntarabana sector in Rulindo district and Matete in Gicumbi district are now happy to trade between each other after receiving a 110-meter-long bridge which cost over 134 million Rwandan francs. The bridge was built following requests by citizens during community assemblies.
We constantly requested for this bridge to be constructed. I thank the government of Rwanda and God who used them. We got the bridge we wanted. Motorcycles and pedestrians pass over that bridge. We will have no water issues anymore.
Thanks to citizens' requests in community assemblies, 25 to 30 mothers have received a maternity room in Kianza Health Center, Ntarabana sector.
First of all, I want to thank the government of Rwanda and our President, His Excellency Paul Kagame, for understanding citizens. Whenever a problem arises, he steps up to solve it. It's the resident that requested for a maternity room during the community assembly. Our voices were heard, and we got the maternity room.
In Rugarika sector of Kamonyi district, citizens expressed the challenge of a long distance taken by their children to school, pledging to contribute on the construction of a school in their area. It has been 2 months since a school was constructed. Over 600 primary school students are studying in this school.
We split ourselves into teams. Each village had a day to come and construct. We later had a general community work, and now we have the school.
The fact that some of the issues faced by citizens have been solved through community assemblies gives confidence to their peers that their issues will be solved too.
We are 100% confident because the leaders have been visiting us and they promised that it is part of the action plan and budget.
Governance expert Dr. Murenzi Faniel noted that good governance is the kind that prioritizes citizens. No one can destroy them at their watch. But when citizens are just beneficiaries, they will think it's just a public school or a public road. But when they play a role in establishing water or electricity infrastructures, whatever role they play, be it physical or financial. They protect them as their own. On Tuesday evening, in various parts of the country, community assemblies established in 2016 by the ministerial order gathered to deliberate on issues faced by citizens and play their role in various programs aimed at their development.
District residents in Tumba sector, where Dr. Munyemana Sosten, whose trial for genocide crimes started in the Paris Civil Court, say that it was appropriate for him to be prosecuted even though it has been almost 30 years since the atrocities were committed. Sam Kalisa with more.
Dr. Munyemana Sosten lived in Gitkwesel, Tumba sector in Butare prefecture, now Tumba sector in Huye district. Munyemana's ex-neighbors, as well as residents of the area, say that it is appropriate for him to be brought to justice.
He's a serial killer, I know it. He killed a lot of people and also sensitized others to kill, and also sponsored murders and awarding them after killing people and boasting in killing. It is good that he's finally brought to justice. I wish even others can be brought to justice, although they are tried far away.
Ibuka president in Huye district, Siwoyinhore Teodat, says that although it has been 29 years, Dr. Munyemana's trial gives hope to genocide survivors who needed justice.
Munyemana Sostene ni umuntu wakoze ibyaha bikomeye muri iki gihugu.
Munyemana committed serious crimes in this country. He is one of the top genocide architects. The fact that he wasn't caught and tried was a loss and a problem to the survivors. Now that he will be tried, it is a relief to the survivors. He is known for a lot of atrocious acts, but the most known is that he used to lock people in the office to make it easy and possible to exterminate them. He was an elite person. He participated in the extermination meetings. He knew exactly what he was doing. A court in Paris on Tuesday began the trial of the 7th Rwandan to be tried in France for crimes in the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi here in Rwanda back in 1994. Dr. Sosten Munyemana is accused of being at the forefront of the massacre in Tumba sector in what is now Huye district in southern province. The atrocities he committed were so terrible that they earned him a nickname of the Butcher of Tumba. A medical doctor by training, Sosten Munyemana was on leave from the end of March to early May in 1994, where he participated in the genocide against the Tutsi, after which he fled to France. The genocide charges against him were filed in 1994 by rights groups.
Thank you, Sam Kalisa, for that report. And earlier today, Rwanda Mines Petroleum and Gas Board issued an immediate cancellation or non-renewal notices of the 13 concessions with serious and persistent shortcomings. In an exclusive interview, our colleague Adam Squizera had with the Deputy CEO of Rwanda Mines Petroleum and Gas Board, Dr. Ivan Twagirashema, he explained the main reason for the revoke of 13 mining licenses.
The cancellation or the revocation of licenses, it's a normal process in the life of a concession. So when you get a concession, you get it tied with an agreement. So when two parties are in agreement, it means you have responsibility, and then on both parties you have your own responsibility. When those responsibilities are not fulfilled, this is what triggers in the end to arrive on that final decision to revoke a license. But that's the final one. Before we arrive on the revocation of a license, the company get warnings, the company get inspection report, requiring them to do some corrections, modification on how they have been mining. And the last decision is the revocation, when the institution realized that we tried all options, and we think if you keep the license, you will end up being a risk to the miners, to your employees, and the surrounding areas. The licensing process is a journey, and it is tied by the law. You are not allowed to discover minerals in your land or your plot, and then come to request for a license. is the government doing basic exploration and then put different plots on the market where people get concessions on a competitive basis. So in that competition, there are a lot of parameters considered. The first one in the business plan is the commitment on investment. You have the commitment on employment and the level of people you're going to employ. You make a commitment on the nature of technology you will be using and machinery to make sure that we move out of artisanal mining and we start going into semi-mechanized or fully mechanized mining. So then when your file is the best in terms of business plan, you win for a license. But you understand that you win for the license based on a good presentation of your business plan and your application documents. So when later on we realize that you are not fulfilling any of the promise you did in your own agreement, it's somehow unfair because you got it on a competition basis, you didn't fulfill. So we try to accompany you for a certain period to see if you can really raise up and perform. But when we see that nothing is going on and you have a risk to become a problem to the surrounding community environment and the rest, we arrive on the last decision of revoking your license. You asked the last question if the company which lost the license can come back. Most of the companies you saw on that list, they had other concessions. And you realize that they categorize concessions and some of them are booked for the future development. Those are the one which was revoked. So asking if they will be able to come back, probably they will not be able to come back on exactly the same concession. But if it is put back into competition, that's what the law says. And they apply and they convince. But remember, they will still have that bad history on a certain number of years. They kept the concession without making any development. But most of the companies you saw, they are not new in the mining sector. And they're developing, you can find a company developing better on one side, and the other side it's as if they kept it, and this practice is not accepted in mining sector.
Additionally, several other companies with serious deficiencies today received cancellation warning notices with a requirement to submit within 2 weeks convincing evidence of remedying the breaches. And on behalf of the news production team and I would like to once again thank you so much for sticking with us on RTV News. Delivering to you the bulletin was Martina Herrera. Stay safe and have a great night.